Baseball has always been a game of tradition, but some traditions fade away. One of the most fascinating, the era of the player-manager, a time when the man making the lineup also stepped into the batter's box. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, baseball teams didn't have large coaching staffs, video rooms, or analytic departments. The strategy often came straight from the players themselves. Captains or veterans would take charge, setting lineups, calling plays, and even handling discipline. Naturally, this led to the rise of the player-manager. It was common for stars to lead both on and off the field. Cap Anson, of the Chicago White Stockings, one of the earliest legends of the game, managed while still dominating at first base. He wasn't just a player, he was the face of his franchise, making the decisions and setting the tone. As baseball grew into the 20th century, the role continued. The fiery Ty Cobb managed the Detroit Tigers while still competing for batting titles. He was tough on his teammates, sometimes too tough. But he represented the old-school image of a player who knew the game better than anyone else. The tradition lasted for decades. Some of the best examples came in the mid-20th century. Rogers Hornsby, one of the greatest hitters ever, led teams as both a player and skipper. Joe Cronin managed the Boston Red Sox while still playing shortstop and making all-star teams. And then came Frank Robinson, who in 1975 became the first black manager in Major League Baseball. He was into just making history from the dugout. He was still hitting home runs for the Cleveland Indians at the same time. But being a player manager wasn't easy. Imagine juggling strategy, substitutions, and pitching changes while trying to face a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. It took a special kind of leader to handle both responsibilities. Even legends like Cobb and Hornsby sometimes struggled with the balance. The last true player manager in the majors was Pete Rose. From 1984 to 1986, Rose chased baseball's all-time hit record while running the Cincinnati Reds. Fans loved the spectacle. Every lineup card and every at-bat came from the same man. When Rose broke Ty Cobb's record in 1985, it was the peak of the player-manager era. But the game was changing. By the 1980s and 90s, baseball had become too complex for one person to do both jobs. Teams relied on deeper scouting, more media attention, and front office involvement. Managers were expected to devote every ounce of energy to strategy, relationships, and the business of winning. A player just couldn't split his focus anymore. Today, the player manager is extinct, remembered as a relic of baseball's past. The role belongs to a different time when rosters were smaller. The game was simpler, and leadership came from the field itself. The story of the player manager is more than nostalgia. It shows how baseball transformed from a scrappy, player-driven sport into a billion-dollar business where every decision is scrutinized. From Cap Anson to Pete Rose, these men carried the weight of two jobs, and in doing so, they left behind one of the most unique chapters in the history of the game.